they would cheer your death. Make no mistake about it. They would absolutely cheer if you were picked up off the street, put into a concentration camp, and put to death. I've been saying this for a long time. Some people think that it is overblown, I'm exaggerating, being hysterical or hyperbolic. But did you see the leaked emails or text messages that were reported by Politico yesterday? These are messages between a bunch of young Republican operatives. These aren't just rando, crazy MAGA people on social media somewhere or some, perverted, sick, dark corner of the MAGA internet. This was a text message, a group chat among young Republicans who actually hold positions of authority within the Republican Party at various levels in the state party system. And they said things like they love Hitler, a lot of racist and sexist stuff. They talked about wanting to rape women, to, show them who's boss, put them in their place kind of thing. Just sick shit. Complete racist stuff, using all different iterations of the N-word, calling black people monkeys and watermelon people. They talked about, going back to the I love Hitler stuff, they talked about wanting to put people in gas chambers and ovens. Real sick shit. Now, I have been talking about this for a while, about the evil among many people in the MAGA right. And while I think most people recognize that, yeah, there are those sickos on the right, but they're fringe, I don't believe that that's true. I've asked the question, what could Donald Trump do that would cause, rank and file Republicans to abandon him? And to me, the answer is nothing. For most of them, I think there's absolutely nothing that he can do that would cause them to abandon him. I think that they would literally defend, and many of them celebrate, the most evil acts that you could possibly conceive he might do. And I think that the failure to recognize that is a real danger. Just think for a moment, what if he attempted to do, or did, some of the things that happened in 1930s Germany, some of the worst atrocities committed by the Nazis? Thinking about concentration camps, putting people to death. Imagine if he did that here. And honestly, if he were going to do that, the run-up to that, I would imagine, would look a hell of a lot like what we're seeing right now. We're not even a year into this. Really not even close to a year yet. What are we, like 8-9 months into this? And we have his, for all intents and purposes, his own personal military, ICE, beating the shit out of people in the streets, violating people's rights left and right, arresting them, detaining them, imprisoning them, beating them, no due process, no warrants. He calls a meeting of his generals and tells them that they will soon be fighting a war against American citizens in the cities, you know, on American soil, in our cities, in our neighborhoods. He said that American citizens are the enemy within, and that is the war that many of them will be called on to fight. What the fuck is he talking about? This isn't a joke. This isn't just Trump being Trump. We've already seen him round up people and send them off to essentially concentration camps in El Salvador. We had him on video in the Oval Office telling Bukele, the Salvadoran dictator, that he's just beginning, that we're going to be sending more people down there. If we were building up to the worst atrocities that we saw in Germany happening here, isn't this what you would expect it to look like leading up to that? Now he's talking about the Insurrection Act, using the military against American citizens. Isn't this what it would look like? He's putting the pieces in place. Will he do that? Will he have the military kidnap American citizens who he labels as enemies because they oppose him, and send them off to a third world prison camp? Or maybe they will, you know, start erecting concentration camps here in the United States. I don't know. But if he was going to do that, I think it would look a lot like this in the run-up to that. But my point isn't really about what he may or may not do. I don't know. My point here in this video is about his supporters. I've asked the question many times, as I said, is there anything he could do that would cause them to abandon him? And I don't think so. What if he did these concentration camps? What if he even just said it? Democrats are enemies of the state. They are domestic enemies. I have an obligation as president to protect America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and the Democratic Party is a domestic enemy party. They are domestic terrorists. They are enemies of the state. I have issued an executive order for the Secretary of War to round up Democrats, and we are going to treat them as the traitors they are. And as you know, treason carries the death penalty. So we are going to round them up and put them to death in concentration camps, in Trump camps. And because they're traitors, I say they don't get due process. Because they're traitors. We're not going to give due process to traitors. We're just going to put them in the ovens or whatever they're going to do. What if he did that? What would Republicans, how would Republicans react to this? And I'm not talking about elected Republicans. I'm talking about your rank and file Republican. The people you see every day, people you work with, maybe members of your family, people who go home every night and sit on their asses and watch hour upon hour of Fox News. Regular friggin' MAGAs. What would they do? Would they react in outrage and abandon Trump and call for his immediate impeachment and removal from office and his prosecution? Hell no! Most of them would not. Most of them would cheer. These people who've been outed now as talking about I love Hitler and wanting to send people to the gas chambers, this is not a fringe group of people. Those MAGAs that you see every day, many of them, if not most of them, would cheer if Donald Trump did that. They would cheer if you were dragged from your home, handcuffed, thrown into the back of a van, whisked away to some Trump camp, and put to your death They would cheer that. I honestly 100% believe that that's true. Maybe not all of them. I'm sure not all of them. Some of them would be horrified. But way too many would cheer. And like I said, I don't think that these are just a few rando crazies. Because every society has sickos who you would expect to be that sick as to cheer that. But I think the evil that has been created and nurtured and fed on the MAGA right, I think these people would cheer. I think they would be happy about it. And that evil, now that it has been unleashed, is going to outlive Donald Trump. He's not going to be around forever, and I don't think he's going to be around all that long. But those people are going to be here. And the media ecosystem that feeds that hate will still be here. Because there is money in it. That's why it exists. And that's why it pumps out the most vile hate and calls for violence. Because there's money in it. That's the content these people want. Your uncle, maybe your father, maybe your brother, maybe your fucking husband, who sits there night after night on the couch watching Fox News, watching Jesse Waters, watching all of these fucking lying hate mongers on Fox News. Those people would fucking cheer. These people, there has to have been some kernel of evil, of hatred that has always been within these people. But that spark of hate and evil has been stoked, has been fed every single day, day in, day out, hour upon hour upon hour. Normal right-wing media is nothing but pure vile hate. There is no responsible right-wing media anymore, where it's just, normal, responsible people who just have a different position on tax and healthcare policy or foreign policy. And you get a center-right point of view. No, that's not what this is anymore. This is pure evil propaganda. And they do it because that's what their audience wants. That's what your uncle, your brother, your sister, your husband, your neighbor right now who's sitting there binge watching Fox News, that's what they want. That's what they demand. And if Fox News doesn't shovel it to them, if they say, you know what, no, we're not going to contribute to the hate in this country. We're going to just do responsible reporting. Guess what? They're going to lose audience like that. They'll all go to Newsmax or OAN or wherever else. The podcasts, they can go anywhere now. And the reason they all do it is because that's where the money is. That's how you make the money. You shovel this hate and lies and filth. And when you do that day after day, year after year, you condition these people to hate their fellow Americans, to look at them as subhuman, less than human, evil incarnate. And once you get them to believe that, they're not human, they don't deserve rights, they don't deserve human dignity, they don't deserve due process, they don't deserve to live. Because our orange God King said that they're enemies of the state. They're the enemies within. And so if he orders the military to round them up and put them to death in Trump camps, concentration camps with Trump's name on it, they would cheer. And if you don't believe that that's true, then you don't understand what we're up against. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant. I'll talk to you again soon.